Hello everyone, it's Tilly from Tilly Journals.
And my name's Sophie from Rymermade.
And we are both here today to show off the amazing thing we have been working on, our Self Employed Bestie. I also have some other bits and pieces to show you in terms of my usual planner launch and new covers and things like that, but we will get into this later in the video. If you are not interested in the Self-Employed Bestie, but you should be, even if you're not in self-employed, I'm sure you can use this for lots of things. There are timestamps down in the description if you just want to see this bit here, but we will, for now, move those off to the side and focus on the Self-Employed Bestie. So as you've already seen, this is a collaborative video, so we are going to switch up and show different parts of this planner between the two of us, because this planner has been a huge collaboration between me and Sophie of Rymermade. So this is us. We are best friends, and we both have a small business as well as working full or part-time in other jobs. Sophie also has some extra little bits and pieces, so she has a standard job as well as lots of different revenues of self-employedness. I obviously have my main job, and I also have Tilly Journals, my shop. This began because the two of us were wanting a little bit more motivation and a little bit more about our small businesses. So we started having monthly calls to chat about our goals for the shop, or what we wanted to do this month, what we needed to do this month, etc, etc. And from there we made our own little worksheets to go through. Well, Sophie made them, to be honest, and from there this was born. So we are going to be going through all of the sections talking about what this is about. But before we get too much further, we do want to tell you that we do have, as you saw here, a Patreon. So the idea of our Patreon is that we will be your self-employed besties. Part of this planner is about community. It's about, there are three main aspects. Obviously there is the self-employedness, or the small business, however you want to phrase that. There is the community, and Patreon is where we are going to be hosting the majority of that community. And the third aspect is self-care, because we wanted this planner to be different from most small business or work planners or anything like that, because we wanted to make sure there was a focus on self-care, because we are both very bad at just filling our plates with far too much stuff and not actually looking after ourselves. Sorry, I haven't given my usual little disclaimer. My daughter is here with me. She is just over 6 months old. She has a little hand here that you may see and you may hear her. She was asleep when I started filming this video, but in true Tilly fashion, I don't have another time to film this to get it up in time. So yeah, we will be listening to her and potentially seeing her little handies. So yeah, that's my little disclaimer. She's living her best life. I'm not going to apologise for that. She's here with me. She is my priority always. The other things that I should say generally, it is completely undated. It is in full colour, as you will see. Obviously flicking through some blank pages, they're not quite blank. And this planner is retailing for £50 plus postage. It is completely undated, so you will get a little sheet of stickers. There are quarterly setups, but your quarters do not have to start in January, April, July and October. Your quarters could start in whatever month you fancy. Where did you get that? This actually, slightly amusingly, Sophie bought me, and it has a little rainbow in, but the rainbow is on my desk, so I don't know where she's got that from. Now, before Baylor steals the stickers, I'm going to hand over to Sophie, who is going to show you the front part of the planner.
So after you've looked at the Patreon page, we have just this divider and then calendar that goes all the way up to April 2029. So obviously this is an undated planner, so you could pick this up any year. So we thought it was really important to just have as many dates as we possibly could to cover as much as we could. I'll just flip back quickly and say we also have this cute little sheet of vellum with our circles, which is part of our design. And then the front page says, Self-Employed Bestie, your best friend and secret weapon for your self-care and self-employment. And then it says, this planner belongs to you, and you can decorate that with stickers or just write in your name or whatever. So after the calendars, we are jumping straight in to this planner, and we are doing a self-appraisal for ourselves for last year. So this is nothing to do with what's coming up. It's about what's just happened and how we feel about it. Reminder, undated planner. You don't have to do this in January. A lot of people just choose to do January because that is sort of that is a new year. But you could pick this up anytime and just look back over the last 12 months. Personally, I kind of think of March, April time as being like a new year, because I think everyone just feels rubbish in January and February. So when March and April come around and like flowers start blooming and stuff, that is the new year to me, and that is when I feel most motivated. So if I was picking this up in like March or April time, I would just look back over the last 12 months. So I won't go through every single question, but the kinds of things that we're asking is, did I meet any goals that I set for myself? Were there moments that reminded me why I love the work that I'm doing? Did I bring in new opportunities? And then I give myself a little rating at the bottom for how I think I performed overall last year. We continue that on the next page with all about self-care. Am I doing things to actively avoid burnout? Did I take time away from my desk? And also I want to think about what's coming up. What would I do if I couldn't fail? And what skills am I looking to enhance in the year ahead? Speaking of the year ahead, we have this on the horizon page. This is labelled January to December, but obviously if you're not starting it at New Year, do just sticker over those. And it's not, we'll see more undatedness throughout the planner. Another fun way to use this could be that if I was going to start in April, I could just start with what's coming up here. I could write in 2026, and then these could be 2027. So it is still really usable even if you're not starting it on January the 1st, 2026. One thing I absolutely love about this planner is the amount of colour in it, and you will see this dotted all the way through. We've tried to be really consistent with the design. We've kept up these little circles throughout the whole planner because we just think that's a nice little cohesive design that comes all the way through the planner. And then we've stuck to our core 6 colours in the design as well, so you know this planner is going to keep you coming back because she is bright and she is joyful. The next thing we want to do in the process of like setting ourselves up for the year ahead is setting some yearly goals. So here we've just done a little ideas bank of the kinds of things that you might want to set goals for. So it might be a skill or social media goals or friends or savings. And there's just a little blurb here about what kind of categories they are and how we're going to go ahead setting some goals. We ask you to think about 6 categories and set some smaller goals for those 6 categories, but we did leave more paper at the back, just in case you do want to have more than 6 categories. There is a warning in here though, that you are your best self when you're not overextending yourself, so try to stick to 6 or even less. The fewer the better basically, because the fewer goals you have, the more you can dedicate yourself to them. Then we go through each category and just say, why is it important? How are we currently performing? And how do we want to be performing this time next year? Again, using that same rating system. Then we're going to think about 3 things. They could be big, they could be small, that would help us improve just how we feel about this category by this time next year. So if your category was, for example, relationship, one thing that you could do to improve how you feel about it by next year is just make a coffee in the morning, every morning, for your partner. That's just something, it's not a big task at all, but it's something that might help make you feel better. So we go through those 6 categories, and by the way, we are having our first call for setting up the categories and stuff on the Sunday the 14th of December. So all the information will be on the Patreon about the time that that's going to happen and the link to access that. So make sure if you want to join in setting this up with us, make sure you join our Patreon like Tilly said earlier in the video. Once we've got our goals set up, the really important thing to do is to safeguard our goals. So things are going to go wrong. That is a fact of life. There's nothing that we can do about that. But we can list what our potential obstacles are, and then we can make a little bit of a plan to make it more manageable so that when that does come up, we're not frozen in fear and going, what do I do? So for example, if my category was YouTube and I said I wanted to film a second video every week to go up on my channel, an obstacle to that could be that I've got too much work to do, so I can't do it. So how can I make that manageable? I could look at other ways I could drop other things off to have more time, or I could come up with smaller ideas that I could film in a batch so that I can get ahead and free myself up time later in the month. A potential obstacle could be that my camera breaks, so maybe I need to have a way of filming on my phone so that I don't miss any videos if my camera breaks. Things like that. If we have a plan in place from day one, when those problems arise, and they will, problems always come up, we've got a plan so we can get this tackled straight away and minimize any gap, because it's so hard when you're in momentum. It's so hard to stop and then restart. We want to keep momentum going. Like I said, there are some notes pages at the back, and then I will hand over to Tilly to talk about the monthly section.
Okay, next we are going to move on to the monthly section. So each month starts off with this bright white nice page for you to put a title on or whatever you like. Can decorate however you want, but that is for your month. Obviously the planner does come up with these stickers for you to stick on your tabs to make sure that you can easily turn to each month. Okay, so after that page, you then do turn into your monthly appraisal. So this is basically looking back at your last month, looking at how things went and what you need to do going forwards. And then you have a space to overall rate your month. All of the paper is got this nice, very subtle, which I'm really struggling to show on camera because of the way my lighting is set up. Let's just, there you go. You can kind of see the dot grid there. It is much easier to see in person. My camera is just almost whitewashing it slightly. There you go, that's a bit better, but that is how it looks a bit more in person. You can definitely see the dot grid. So yeah, that's your monthly appraisal. And then on your next page, you have a space for a mind unwind, a brain dump. We have called it Write to Ignite, to ignite sparks of inspiration. And it's just got this little decoration down the page, but it is a nice dot grid paper for you just to get everything from your brain onto the sheet. Our next page is the next big thing. We've titled it like this because it could be anything. It could be if you are in a trade sort of role, as in like a plumber or similar. It could be your next big project. It could be something you want to save for. It could be if you own a business, if you sell things. It could be a sale. It could be a trade show. It could be absolutely anything. And that is how this planner is designed. It is really flexible. If you are using this not as a self-employed person, it could be a goal or a project that you are working on. So what is it? Set your intention, make a list of everything you need to do for it here, and then how do you feel? There's a little space to put in any little wins you notice, and there's also a space to look at any obstacles that might come while you're working on this project or whatever it is, and to write down your solution. Because if you go into a goal with a mind of what could go wrong, because things are going to go wrong, but you've already thought about what could go wrong and how you could deal with it, it will be much easier to deal with that. So that is the idea on this page. Next we have your social media ideas, and we have this lovely jar here to fill with sweets of ideas to post on social media. You could draw these, you could just write in here in a list, you could draw little sweeties and write in it. Depends how like inventive you're feeling and things. But you can do whatever you want to get some social media ideas down on the page, so that when you're struggling and you're like, oh, I need to post something on social media, you can come to this and you've got something to choose from. You could set a time each month to go through or you Reels or TikTok and write down some ideas. It could be YouTube videos, it could be any form of social media, and that is the idea. Or if you don't do social media, you could make this something else, some other sort of ideas. It does say social media, but that doesn't mean that's what you've got to use it for. The idea of this planner is to be flexible. My range of planners is called the Flexible Functional Flexi Planners. The idea being that they are functional, flexible, and they are of course planners. Next up, we do have our monthly spread. This is the only page in this planner that is designed to use stickers. So this will fit any standard vertical sticker kit if you would like to use that, but obviously you do not have to. There are 5 weeks there. You might be asking, why is the calendar not at the front? Because we want you to have thought about how last month went, got your brain dumped down, worked out what your next big thing is, thought about social media, before you come to your calendar and put those things in. Because if you start with a calendar, you don't have the things that need to go in your calendar yet. You need to think about those things first. And that is it for our little monthly section.
Once you've set yourself up for the month, it's time to look at your weekly planning. So let's take a closer look at a weekly setup. So every week starts with this week commencing at the top, and you can put in obviously the date that the week commences. Every month has 5 weeks because, like I've said time and time again, this is an undated planner. So the good thing about that is if you do it on the first week of the month and then you are too busy on the second week of the month, you can pick right back up on the third week and just go straight in here. You don't have to leave any weeks blank if you don't want to. So I'll start on the right. So down the right hand column, we have space for listing any appointments and events that are going to come up in the next week. And then we just want to think about what our top 3 priorities are. And basically this is, if I get nothing else done this week, if I get these done, I'm going to feel okay about it. Self-care is at the core of everything in this planner. It is the most important thing to help you get things done. So we want you to set a small self-care task every single day. So it could even just be took 20 minutes of quiet time, had 20 minutes of screen-free time, gave myself a nice pudding after dinner. It could be any of that. Write down your daily self-care and just tick along the side to confirm that you have done it. At the end of the week, we're going to look at this week's little win. And then if you're tracking any finances and stuff, there is space to do that down here. So how much income we had this week, what our expenses were, and then what your weekly net was and what your monthly net is, just so you've got a bit of a running total. Jumping back to the left, and I love this little pattern down here, it's so cute. But we have got a task list here, and we've got Monday through Sunday on the side. And basically this is so that you can do the Alastair method of planning. So we thought that the Alastair method would be really useful because it helps you see what days you are overloading and what days you might have a bit more time. For example, if I said I want to do editing, I would write it here and I would tick that I do that on a Sunday. If I want to do social media posts, I might want to do that on Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Straight away, I see that I've got Tuesday and Thursday completely clear and Saturday completely clear. So when I put my next task down, I might want to schedule it for those days. Striking balance and making sure that we are not overloading ourselves from one day to another is so essential for this planner. This planner actively helps you avoid burnout, and that is our main priority over anything else. Like realistically, it doesn't actually matter how much you get done if you feel rubbish once you've done it. And down here at the bottom, this is a section that I need to take to heart every single week because I always plan to work a set amount of hours and I always go over it. So hours I plan to work, actual hours worked, and then I'm going to give myself a self-care score, and that's going to be really useful for taking with me to the next week, because if my self-care score is 2, I'm going to be actively thinking, what can I do this week to help me get a better self-care score? So obviously you've seen every single month and then you've seen how the week's set up, but at the end of every 3 months we have a quarterly section. So I'm going to hand over to Tilly to talk to you about that.
So after your weekly spreads at the end of every quarter, you do have a quarterly check-in. So this is a space for each of the goals that you set. So there is space to put your category, what's going well and what can make things better, and also give it a little rating of how you feel that is going. And there is space for all of those goals that you set at the beginning. As we said earlier, there is a self-care element to this planner, and this is one of the ways that comes in. So this is your burnout check-in. So at the end of every quarter, you need to take a moment before you carry on, looking at your energy levels right now and over the last month, some things that you might want to do every week. You can have a think about the habits you want to work on and some self-care ideas. And then there is also a place to mark your work-life balance. A work-life balance is really, really important, but it's not always going to be 50-50. You might have a big project that means it's 75-25 one month. That means that going forward, you need to focus on whichever area was only having 25%, because otherwise you will burn out. If work is constantly 75%, 75%, 75%, you are going to really struggle. Following on from your burnout check-in, you then have 2 nice dot grid sheets again. Again, it's hard to show off that dot grid, but there is very definitely the same. It is darker, and there will be photos on the website to show that. 2 sheets of the dot grid paper. After your dot grid, you go into your next divider, which my camera does not like to show, and you have your blank page for your month again. But at the beginning of the next month, and in fact there is also one of these right at the beginning of the first month, you have a space to set out your ideal week. To plan out when you want to be working, when you want to be not working, when you want to be doing certain types of work, etc, etc. So there's one of these every quarter to make sure that you are keeping up with whatever work-life balance, hours you want to work, to make an idea of what you want to do with your week. And then after that ideal week, you do then go into your normal monthly, starting back with your monthly appraisal. And that's it for the little quarterly section.
So the great thing about this planner is that we treat it as if it's not a standalone thing. So many planners, I think, you reach the end of the year and it's all about wrapping up. It's all about finishing. But we know that that's not how life works. Momentum has to keep going into next year. So we've done another quarterly section right at the end of the planner, and it's your end of year goals check-in. So you've done these throughout the planner consistently. This will be your 4th one, but this one you're going to be actively thinking about moving things on for next year. So we do our end of year check-in, and then most importantly, we're doing a burnout check-in, and it is an end of year one. So like I said, thinking about what we've done this year and how we're going to avoid our burnout next year. Arguably the most important thing on the burnout check-in is the work-life balance, and I think that is especially true when it's the end of a year and you're moving into the next one, because that's the time that we're thinking about what our priorities are and how much we actually want to be working and how much we're enjoying our lives and just, you know, living it. And again, we're going to have another on the horizon page. So we had one of these at the start of the year, and this one says ready to do it all again next year. Which might be motivating or might be daunting depending on how your workload looks. But again, we're just thinking about what is actually coming up in the year ahead that's going to affect your productivity and how much of yourself you're going to be able to dedicate to your work. Then we're just going to end with a whole bunch of notes pages. These might be really useful for taking notes during Patreon calls. You might get some ideas from other people, especially during our co-working sessions, because the monthly ones are going to be all about you and what you're putting in here. But you might find that while you're doing co-working, people start chatting about different issues that they've got, giving each other some advice, because that is what a self-employed bestie community is all about. So the notes pages would be really useful for actually sitting and taking notes during those calls. Reminder, if you want to be part of those calls, make sure you join our Patreon. There is the link there, but obviously it will be in the description below as well. I think this is going to be a really worthwhile community. I think it's so important, especially because this whole idea started with me and Tilly working together because we both felt a little bit disillusioned and a little bit lonely when it came to working on our businesses. Neither of us were achieving the things that we wanted to do, and so we came up with the idea of basically treating each other like colleagues, because we're all in this together. We all want small businesses to succeed, right? So we came up with a little meeting agenda so that we could be like colleagues, and it is totally spiraled from there. And it was that moment of realizing that actually this format could be so helpful to so many people that made us realize this is definitely something we want to bring out, and we want to get more and more self-employed besties who are just going to feel better about their work, because imagine how much that could change the landscape of the self-employed community. Planning is what brought these self-employed besties together, so I'm going to hand over to Tilly to talk about her other planners that she's got coming out today. And I'm not going to lie, I may or may not have already sneaked myself one of them.
Okay, so now you have seen the full Self-Employed Bestie and hopefully are really excited about it. We're going to move on to some new bits and pieces in planners. I'm not going to go over everything because this video is long enough. There is a video linked up in the cards here about my planners in general and showing you everything that has been released before this point, and then also last year's planner release, which showed a couple of new things, I think. So I'm going to start with the other collaboration that I am very excited about, and this here is that, and this is a collaboration with Beth of Beth Plans XO, both here on Instagram and YouTube, and this is a 5-year journal. As it says, in collaboration with Beth Plans, space to put your years covered, whatever to whatever. So the idea of this is Beth came up with a series of questions that she wanted to do in a 5-year journal, but she's really struggled to keep up with it, in all honesty. And so she and I have been kind of talking about this for a little while. And this year I finally had the opportunity to make it happen. And this here is the result of that. So every day of the year has a question and space to answer it for 5 years. So down the side you have your month and space to write what year you are answering it for, and then each question has a little box with dot grid in, of course, for you to answer it. The question is nice and big at the top. Some of the questions are a little bit smaller because they are longer questions. Let's see if we can find one. Yep, so here the font is a little bit smaller, but there is no dot grid behind the question to make it nice and easy to read. Same, there is no dot grid down here. It's all in a quite dark grey, but it is not quite black because I just feel like the black is a bit jarring. So we are using different fonts for most of my planner. We have this cursive here and then this nice clear print there. The calendars at the front don't just have 1 or 2 pages, but it actually spans a full 10 years. So it goes from January 2026 through to December 2035, which is ridiculous. But that is because this planner should last you 5 years. So if you bought this planner now but didn't start using it till halfway through the year, you wouldn't have those last 6 months if I just put in 5 years. So there are 10 years there, all the years through to December 2035. One of the things we did have to deal with is that one of the questions was, what did you do today for your birthday? I don't know when your birthday is when you buy this planner. I'm not going to change the date to put it in. So each planner includes this sheet of stickers which has 12 alternate questions and 3 blank questions, blank squares, so you can put in your own questions. The idea is you take, for example, the birthday one, you look for the question that is your birthday and you just stick it over the top. Just like that. I'm not going to stick this down properly because that is not Beth's birthday and that is who this planner here is going to. You may want to white out the question underneath if it bothers you, because this is my standard matte paper, basically because it's easier to write on than my premium matte and it matches closer with the colour of the page. So that's why I have gone with that there. So yeah, I'm not going to flip through all the pages and show you the questions, but for example, let's go to June, which doesn't have 31 days, because this is the last page of May, which obviously has 31 days. If the month does not have 31 days, there is just a blank space here. The top, again, doesn't have dot grid, and then this bit does have dot grid down there. So you could make some notes, or you could just do whatever. Obviously, February only has 28 days, but it does have a leap year day, so there is space for your leap year day and then a gap here. Though if you start this planner this year, there will only be one of these boxes filled in, so you know, you can write whatever you want there. So that is our new other planner, and as I say, that will come with a sheet of stickers, and the tabs are different than the tabs on the standard planner because they match the font in the used through the planner, which is there, rather than Hermione, which matches the font used in my standard planners. So that is there, and that is the 5-year journal planner. The other new thing I am offering is I am now offering my dot grid notebooks with numbered pages. So my dot grid notebooks all come with 100 pages or 200 sheets of dot grid paper. So if you buy one, you can choose dot grid or no dot grid, and that is just there. It's just flicking through. I thought that was a problem then. My notebooks do come with 2 sheets of sticker release paper at the back with all, like all planners, and your pocket as well, and they do come with a cover page. This is going to be my goal planner for next year. More on that later because I'm doing a rejig of the goals planner, so this is what I'm going to use for this year to work out how I want to change the goals planner to make it a better product for something that works for me now, because the format there no longer works for me. But it is a very good goals planner. I do offer a goals planner if you haven't gathered that. So yeah, so that is a numbered pages. That's all of the new planner layouts. We do have lots of new covers to show you. The last thing I have to show before we go over all of the new covers is something that I've offered for a while, but I just don't think I've advertised very well, and I just wanted to go over it because it's actually something I'm doing. This is my 2026 memory planner, and as you can see, there are 2 of them. So all of my planners come with the choice to split them over 2 coils, and that's what I've done here. So just as a quick flip through, each of these has 6 months in. I go for undated, so that's what we've got here. So you've got your usual, with undated plans, you do get 2 sides of the year at a glance. So that's your year at a glance. And then you just have 6 months. And I am using the 1 column no dot grid. I meant to actually print the dot grid, but I didn't, so yeah. And then you get your 6 months, and then you get your notes. And then at the back of the planner, you do still get your stick release paper and your pocket. And that's that. All of the split between 2 coils come with removable covers as standard, because then you can move your cover over to your second planner, which is essentially exactly the same because it's undated. But if it was dated, this would be January to June, and this would be July to December. And it's exactly the same pocket at the back and everything. The pockets are always the same because you just get 1 cover with these, although if you buy another cover with your order and you would like your pockets to match the other cover you have purchased, leave me a note at checkout and you can do that, which is actually what I've done because I'm going to use one of the other new covers with my second 6 months. When you split over 2 coils, you do automatically get the smaller coil. The 5-year journal also does come on a smaller coil. The Self Employed Bestie is on a bigger coil, so that is a nice size comparison of the 2 coils. Again, you can leave me a note at checkout if you want a bigger coil on your 6 months. But again, if you wanted a big coil, you could do that. I have gone with a small coil, and the reason I want this split over 2 weeks is because this here is 6 months in my 2025 A5 wide rings, and you can see. So you can see just how chunky 6 months gets. So if I have the whole year on a big coil, it's going to be huge. So I think that a half year will fit nicely on a small coil. Maybe I'll regret that and I'd have wanted a big coil, but I can always swap them out because it's my shop. But yeah, so that is why I've done that, because I miss having a coil. I prefer a coil band. I find it harder to keep rings afterwards and things. So yeah, I just wanted to advertise that is always an option. And as I say, maybe I'll just add it as an option that you can get a big or small coil and you just have to select which you want when you're splitting. So yeah, that's there. And now we're just gonna do a little look through all of the new covers that are coming. Obviously you've seen 2 of them, 3 of them I think. But we are going to start off with the one that is on Beth's planner, 5-year journal I mean. So this is Bookstack, I believe it is called. I should probably grab out the names. Ready? This is Bookstack. This is one of 3 using this art from Clip Art Kits. So you have your stack of books with a cup of tea and an open book on top, making a cute little heart. And then the inside is the same sort of cloud cover just inside there. So that is Bookstack. The second one I have to show using that art is Raining Cats and Dogs. And so the front and back covers of my newer covers are all the same. So the front and the back covers are identical, and then they have a different design in the middle. So this is Raining Cats and Dogs. So you've got this rainy scene with 2 cats looking out, and then on the inside you do have this rain pattern in yellow, which I think is super cute. So that's Raining Cats and Dogs. And then last but not least, you have Cosy Rain from this art. You have Cosy Rain, which is this gorgeous little scene here of a nice reading nook with a doggo. You've got lots of books, your hot chocolate and things there. And the inside of this is like this water pattern there. Super pretty, nice blue inside cover. And that is Cosy Rain. And all 3 of those covers are art from Clip Art Kits. Moving on to an art set from Kitten's Jess. We first have a Golden Lab, because obviously there is a golden lab on this cover. So you've got this nice outdoor scene with a Labrador just chilling there, living his best or her best life. And then the inside of this cover is this white and blue sort of paint swatch design. And of course the back cover is the same as the front cover. Next up, again art from Cottage Jess, we have Affirmations, and I love this. I think it is absolutely stunning. It's got lots of different little affirmations on the post-it notes, and then it's got this pink floral in the background, and you do just have this girl living her best life there. I have previously offered different skin and hair colours for covers, however, honestly, they don't sell. However, if you really want a different skin and hair colour, if you leave it as a note, I can probably do that for you. And then the inside of this cover is this sort of speckledy, paint, swatchy, I don't even know how to say it, rainbowy design. And of course, the back cover does match the front cover. And the last one from, oh no, we have two more from this art set. The next one from this art set is Lemon Meringue. So we have this gorgeous lemon meringue pie is what I think it is, except like it's floral meringue rather than full meringue. You've got the flowers, you've got sunglasses, and you've got some lemons and earrings and stuff. I think this is super cute on this nice yellow background. And the inside of this is this gorgeous floral with a grid pattern in the back. So that is Lemon Meringue, and as I say, all of these covers have the same front and back. That is so that if you want the inside cover, which is actually what Beth wants, so I made Beth's planner removable, so that with removable cover, so that she can, well, I'm going to switch over which way around her covers are, so she has the inside pattern on the outside. In the same vein, we do also offer some just patterned covers. These are the same art from Cottage Jess, so we have this blue floral. It's very similar to the pink floral that is behind the girl in Affirmations, but in blue. And then the inside is this pink tulips that is similar to the inside of the other, but instead on the background there is a polka dot pink. So this one is called Summer Floral there. Then we do have another art set by Cottage Jess to show off. So this is Moonlight Chapters. Next we have Ancient Desk, which is, as it says on the tin, a desk scene. So you've got this old planner type scrolly journal thing with a scroll and a wax seal thing. Words are not my forte right now, my brain is not working. We've got this magic bottle here, we've got some ivy coming in, we've got keys and the feather. And then the inside of this is this old style text, which just says lots of different things. I don't actually know what the text is from, but yes, that is the next one by Cottage Jess, and that is called Ancient Desk. Next up we have Fairy Cottage, which is this one here, which obviously is a fairy with a cottage. Very simple. Love this. I did debate like doing this as a full double scene, but actually it worked better like this. And then on the inside of this is the nice navy blue same starry pattern as the purple, but in navy blue. And then last but not least in those covers in that art set is this one, which I believe is called Celestial Blooms. So on the front you have the purple with the floral and the leaves. I love this cover, hence why it is my goals planner cover. And then on the inside you have this sort of celestial design with the clouds over the top of it. And again, this back cover is the same, and that is one of the patterned ones. Though, as I say, all of the planner covers, if you got it removable or if you leave a note to check out saying you want the inside on the outside, they'll just be this way around, so that it's like that. And that was your front cover. So if you like to put die cuts all over it, that's a great way to do so. The very last cover is again one you've already seen, and that is the one on my planner for 2026, and this is my hand-drawn cover. It is a font, the text is a font, but I have drawn this cover and the inside cover, and I am obsessed with this one, and I think I'm actually going to put the inside cover on the outside, because again this is removable. So on the front it just says chasing rainbows, finding joy, and you do have a rainbow. I'm going to say a doctored rainbow because it does have pink in, so it goes red to, it goes through the standard rainbow plus pink. I do always include indigo on my rainbows. And then this is the inside cover, and is that not just the most incredible inside cover? I am obsessed. I'm a big rainbow lover. Bayla's nursery is rainbow themed. I love this. I may actually switch her journal to have this as the cover, because she has a planner for the first year of her life that I'm keeping, So yeah, and that is all of the covers, and I think everything for this video.
Thank you guys so much for watching and for being part of our small business journey. We can't wait to go on this journey further with you, and we hope you love everything. Don't forget that these are available on the 24th of October at 6 o'clock from Rymermade.com and tillyjournals.com. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe to both of our channels, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!